Alright, just a quick follow-up video to my last video on the Firefly 18 when I did some comparisons on the field of view 16:9 with the lens adapter with rock-steady stabilization versus no lens adapter 4x3 and gyroflow stabilization. And I think a lot of people, well, a few people thought I missed out one important field of view, which is 4x3 with the lens adapter with no stabilization. And I guess some people would fly in 4x3 mode with an even wider field of view with the lens adapter. And well, obviously they don't care about stabilization. They're just using the camera for field of view only. That's not what's one I didn't consider because I don't fly that way. I did try that, and I find that, I mean, if you look at the goggle DVR, I find that the lens adapter crops in too much of the field of view, like you see it in the corners and the sides, and then the usable field of view is shrunken down in the middle. Yes, you do get a wider field of view overall. The outer edges are kind of widely distorted. So I'm not sure how useful it is. I personally didn't find it that flyable. I suppose if I practiced many hours and just flew with the lens adapter in 4x3 mode, I might get used to it after a while, but I don't think I would prefer to fly that way. I would prefer to see a clear field of view all the way to the corners, and so I'll probably just continue to fly without the lens adapter. So I will show you there's three kinds of footage now that I'm going to show you, because one of the complaints I got was I didn't show any flying footage, and the point of that video was mainly to point out the field of view differences. And I guess people didn't understand that, yeah, the 4x3 field of view with gyroflow stabilization with no lens adapter is actually wider than the lens adapter in 16:9 mode with rocksteady. Now granted, when you're flying, you're going to get various amounts of extra crop compared to just standing still, which is I wanted to show what the maximum field of view would be. So in these flying clips I'm going to show you, it's going to be actually smaller, so something to keep in mind. I personally feel like rocksteady crops in even more when you're flying compared to gyroflow. And in gyroflow, even though I'm using the stock settings for the stabilization, you can actually adjust the amount of zoom in gyroflow to make it less, so I feel that that's actually a more of a benefit. But you guys can argue again down in the comments below as to what you guys think. So I have three clips here I'm going to show you going down this sort of like side of the wall between some trees to I want to get some objects in the field of view so you can kind of get a sense of which is wider, better in your opinion, you know, what looks better to you. And I labeled them A, B, and C. They're in no particular order. You're going to get the 16:9 with a rocksteady, and then you're going to get the 4x3 with gyroflow with no lens adapter. So the first one with rocksteady is with lens adapter, and then there will be one without the lens adapter. And then there's going to be the lens adapter in 4x3 mode with gyroflow stabilization. So that'll be the third one. They're in no particular order. You guys can guess. Let me know in the comments below which you think A, B, and C are, and I'll let you know at the end of the video what those are corresponding to, and then I'll give you my opinion as to which one I think is the best looking. Okay, so basically, again, it looks like the 16x9 with the lens adapter and the 4x3 no lens adapter with gyroflow, pretty similar in field of view. It does turn out that when you use gyroflow in the 4x3 mode with the lens adapter, even though there's no official lens profile for that, it does kind of work. I haven't done enough flying in this mode to really see what kind of artifacts we're going to see. Obviously, it isn't designed for that amount of field of view. I need to fly more, but it's hard to fly in that mode for me, so I'm not sure how much more testing I'm going to do. So you guys can test on your own as to whether or not you feel that's better or not if you happen to have the lens adapter. But in the 4x3 mode, lens adapter on with gyroflow stabilization, it does appear to be a little bit wider. Now, what I did is I actually had to crop in using the field of view slider from 1.0, which is the stock setting. If you have in the stock setting, you get the props in view and the lens adapters in view. You're gonna have to crop all that out to get a usable field of view obviously for 4K footage if that's your goal. And you are going to get a little bit wider field of view overall. It's just a tiny bit more, but I feel like I guess there's a lot more work to be done in terms of getting that field of view correct and cropped in. I used a value of 0.8 on the field of view in gyroflow to get that sort of cropped in, but you still see a little bit of props in view. The edges of the field of view are still pretty widely distorted, even though I had lens correction turned on. But again, because the official lens profile isn't there for this lens adapter, you are going to get some wonky stuff, especially on the edges. But the center of the field of view seems to be okay, as far as I can tell. But again, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of that. So yeah, and again, there's the flying footage of the 3 modes I think people are going to be interested in, and it does appear that you can get a little bit more field of view in the 4x3 mode. Granted, in the vertical side, you're going to have to crop off quite a bit in gyroflow to get a usable result, but at the end, that usable result seems to be even a little bit wider than the 4x3 mode with no lens adapter. So, yeah, would I use it? Probably not. I don't feel comfortable flying with the lens adapter on. But if you are and you're happy with an extra, a little bit more field of view in your 4K footage, then go for it. That's going to cover for this video. If you got any questions, comments, let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.